Hello, I'm Trevor Price. Welcome back. This is a video all about enjoying what you're doing in your studies and being good at it as a result. So enjoying what you do is really important when you're being a student. I've come across many students who are really unhappy or disillusioned about what they are studying in the class, and they can't see the point of this subject that they're being asked to engage in, and what's the point of doing it in line with their whole degree. After all, they just want to graduate. They don't really care about the nitty-gritty details of what they're studying. And I always feel that's a real shame. It's a real shame because, most importantly, that those students are wasting their time. They're wasting a lot of time in that class being force-fed information and knowledge that they're not interested in understanding at all. And so, on top of that, time that they're also wasting a lot of money, because they are paying for that module, they're paying for that course material, they're paying for their lecturer's time and all the resources that have gone into building up that course. And so if you're not really enjoying at least the majority of the subjects within your degree, you have to start thinking, why am I doing this course? Why am I spending this money? And why am I wasting my time in this way? If we think about it, it's kind of linked to our performance as well, our enjoyment. If we are enjoying something, our performance in that area usually increases. So we find we enjoy something, our ability increases, and so we get even happier, and our performance increases even further as a result. Whereby the opposite is also true. If we're not really happy and we're not really enjoying what we're doing, we're finding it a real drag and really difficult and a real hard labor to perform in this subject well at all. And so our performance degrades, and as our performance tends to degrade, our ability degrades as well, and vice versa as well. If our performance is poor in that particular subject area, then our enjoyment of that gets less and less and less, and we become more frustrated, and eventually we become very angry and perhaps anxious and really don't want to engage with that subject any further. And that's the same for when you're a student in university. If there are subjects within your course that you're not really interested in, you're not really going to pay sufficient time and energy and effort into that subject to boost your ability. And so your ability will perhaps degrade, or at least stay constant, and you'll get more and more frustrated, and you'll end up really not enjoying that class at all. So to avoid all of that, to avoid wasting your time and to avoid wasting your money, before you start a degree, if you're in that lucky position, then think, firstly, is higher education actually the right thing for me to do? In the UK and America at least, there's a lot of pressure on school children, especially high school students, to think about what is it you're going to do once you leave school. And there's a lot of pressure on those students to go into university. I would say stop and think at that point. Think about, am I the right sort of person to spend the next 3, 4, 5 years at a university studying further, when perhaps my academic grades at school perhaps weren't so good? Perhaps I didn't really enjoy being in the classroom listening to my teachers. So perhaps it's better for you, if you're in that situation, to think about doing something else rather than university. Perhaps you can start a business if you're interested in that sort of thing, become an entrepreneur. Perhaps it's better for you to do an apprenticeship with a company, so learn a trade. Perhaps it's better for you to take some time out, perhaps go traveling if you can, or go and get a part-time job, and think about your choices and what you want for the rest of your life. So the first question really is, do I want to study or not? So to study or not to study. And then you think, well, what sort of level of course do I want to study now that I really want to study some more. So let me think about what it is I actually want. And instead of thinking about the subject, think about the end point. Do you quest for further knowledge in a subject, or are you after a qualification? If you're aiming for a particular job, for example, it might be that you need a certain qualification to enable you to be employed in that position. And that's a great target to aim for, and that will guide you in your choice of courses. If you're just interested in getting more knowledge and more ability in a particular subject, perhaps it's more like a hobby that you want to boost. Perhaps it's a more sort of practical course that you want to get your hands in and get practiced at. And so, there's a whole range of different levels of courses, some not at university, that wouldn't be appropriate, which are more like hobby courses, like gardening or, candle making or painting or car mechanics or something like that. That would be more perhaps like a further education, 16 to 18 years old college environment in the UK. And on the other end of that, there's master's and PhD level courses, which of course you would need to go to university to study. And in order for you to become a doctor, like a medical doctor, you would need a PhD, you would need a master's, you would need a first degree. And so that course of action is very specified. You would definitely need to go to a university to do that. So that would help you choose which is the right course for you. But also think about the duration of the course and your direction of travel along that course. How long are you prepared to spend studying? If you're happy to spend 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years becoming a medical doctor, starting with a degree and working up to your PhD and onwards, then that's great. If you've only got a year or two, then you need to rethink and remodel your expectations. Think also about the cost. How much money do you have available to you to spend on your education after high school? That might also be something that constrains your choices. So if you're a high school student, you've got that opportunity to think quite clearly and carefully about the choice of course that you want to do and whether going to university is actually the right plan of action. If you're already a student at university and you're feeling I'm a little bit disgruntled, a little bit fed up with this course, or perhaps you're really fed up with the course and you feel you're stuck and trapped in that course, well, don't worry, because you can change the course. Now, you might have to start from scratch. It depends where you are in your degree course now. If you're towards the start of your course, then think about, is that course the right thing for you? Because it might not be too late to change. And I would say, without hesitation, go and talk to the lead person, the lead academic for your course, and explain your discomfort and your unhappiness about the course content. It's wise to just stop and think there a minute, because I've noticed some students who get disgruntled and upset on a course and get a little bit disillusioned are often comparing themselves with other students on the course, and that can be a little bit troublesome, because if you compare yourself with other students on the course, especially the students who are in the top students on the class, then those students might have lots of experience, they might have studied this subject before, and you as a student coming fresh into that course, you have very little or perhaps no knowledge about that subject that you're facing, and you're finding that quite a shock, perhaps quite a difficult mountain to climb. And you're thinking, why aren't I able to score such high grades? Why aren't I able to perform so well compared to this top student in the class? And that leads to sometimes a cycle of unhappiness in some students because they're comparing themselves with others in the class. And I think that's really the wrong thing to do, because as a student, students by definition enter a course with no knowledge about that course content whatsoever. And so you could be starting from scratch, starting from zero base, and having to work really hard to climb through and up in that course. So before you absolutely make your decision about changing your course, just stop and think about those sort of issues. But if you really do want to change your course and you're unhappy with the course you're on, then as soon as you can, talk to the academic in charge, explain your unhappiness and ask what would be the consequences if I stop this course. And perhaps in the same university or another university, you've identified a course that is better suited for you. You can then change and start the other course that makes you happier. It's never too late, apart from once you graduated or perhaps in the final few weeks of the term in the final year of your degree. You may as well just finish it off at that point. Hopefully this video's been helpful to you. It's given you some things to think about. These sort of questions aren't concrete. I can't give you the final answer. That is up to you to think about. But if you've got any questions for me, please put them in the comments below. I'll answer them all. Give me a thumbs up if you like the video and subscribe to my channel for more updates as they come along. Thank you. Bye.